The neon lights of New Avalon's lower district flickered against the perpetual rain, casting distorted shadows across the cracked pavement. Daniel pulled his coat tighter, navigating through the crowd of humans and aliens that populated the street market. 5 years had passed since the Galactic Council had opened Earth to the wider universe, and humanity had clawed its way from primitive backwater to respected newcomer with characteristic stubbornness. He stopped dead in his tracks. There, huddled beneath a broken awning, sat a figure he'd never thought he'd see again. The scales that once shimmered like molten gold were now dull and patchy. Her wings, magnificent appendages that had once carried her across star systems, were folded tight against her body, one clearly broken and healed wrong. But those eyes, those vertical pupiled amber eyes, were unmistakable. Anna. The name escaped his lips before he could stop it. The dragon woman's head snapped up, and for a moment, pure terror flashed across her face. Then recognition, followed by something worse. Shame. Daniel, her voice, once commanding and melodious, came out as barely a whisper. You shouldn't be here. He approached slowly, his mind reeling. Anna had been a draconian noble, a warrior diplomat who'd come to Earth during the first contact. Their relationship had been a scandal on both worlds, a primitive human and a member of one of the galaxy's oldest and most prideful species. When the pressure became too much, when her family threatened to disown her entirely, she'd made her choice. She'd left. What happened to you? Daniel crouched beside her, ignoring the stares of passers-by. Anna laughed bitterly, a sound that ended in a wet cough. What happens to all draconians who disgrace their bloodline? I was cast out, stripped of title, of property, of name. She gestured to herself with a trembling claw. The council blacklisted me. No respectable establishment will hire a dishonored dragon. So here I am, begging for credits on a human world. Daniel's jaw clenched. The irony was almost poetic. She had left him to preserve her honor, and lost it anyway. Why didn't you contact me? Pride. The word was ash in her mouth. Stupid, foolish pride. How could I come crawling back to the human I'd abandoned? How could I prove every detractor right, that I was weak, that mixing with lesser species would be my downfall? Lesser species. Daniel's voice hardened. Is that still what you think we are? Anna met his gaze, and he saw the truth there. No, I learned that lesson too late. Humans are survivors, Daniel. You thrive where others would perish. You adapt. You endure. I was a fool to leave, and a coward for not returning. Daniel stood, his mind racing. The human part of him, the part that still ached from her abandonment, wanted to walk away, to let her face the consequences of her choices. But another part, the part that had loved her fiercely despite the universe's disapproval, couldn't leave her like this. Get up, he said. Anna blinked. What? Get up? You're coming with me. Daniel. I can't. You can and you will. He extended his hand. I didn't claw my way up from being considered a primitive ape descendant just to leave someone I loved rotting in the gutter. That's not how we humans work. Over the next weeks, Daniel brought Anna to his apartment, a modest place by dragon standards, but comfortable. He fed her, helped her regain strength, and contacted a human doctor who'd studied xenobiology. The doctor confirmed what Anna had feared. Her wing would never heal properly without expensive regenerative treatments she couldn't afford. Then we'll figure it out, Daniel said simply. Why? Anna asked one evening, watching the rain streak down the windows. Why help me after what I did? Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Because holding grudges is a luxury humans can't afford. We've spent our entire history learning that. Besides, he turned to her. You made a mistake. You owned it. That takes courage. What devastated Daniel most wasn't Anna's fall from grace, it was learning the full truth of what happened after she left. Her family hadn't just disowned her. They'd blamed her for the contamination of associating with humans. When she defended humanity, spoke of their potential, their resilience, their capacity for growth, she'd been declared a traitor to her kind. The draconian high court had made an example of her, ensuring no other noble would dare follow her path. She'd lost everything defending his species. The realization hit him like a physical blow. She hadn't just left because of pressure, she'd left to try to salvage something. And when she'd stood up for humanity anyway, she'd been destroyed for it. You defended us, he said quietly. Of course I did. Anna's eyes gleamed in the dim light. I loved you, Daniel. I loved your world, your people's determination, your hope despite impossible odds, your refusal to accept the galaxy's hierarchy as absolute. The Draconians call it arrogance. I call it magnificent. Daniel took her clawed hand in his. Then let's show them what human arrogance really looks like. I'm getting you that treatment. It costs. I know what it costs. I also know that humanity just secured a defense contract with the Council. Turns out our primitive tactical thinking is exactly what they need against the Void Swarm. He smiled grimly. And I know the procurement officer personally. She owes me a favor. In the months that followed, Daniel leveraged every connection, called in every debt, and used every ounce of that famous human stubbornness. Anna's wing was repaired. More than that, she found work human companies didn't care about draconian honor codes. They cared about competence. The galaxy had tried to break her for loving a human. Instead, that human refused to let her fall, because that's what humans did. They fought for those they loved. Consequences be damned. And sometimes, just sometimes, that was enough to change everything.